Hello again. I'm going to change things up a little bit today since I've talked a lot about what I've been thinking about. What have you been thinking about? Since you're on Facebook, probably food or how not to cut your own hair. Have you happened to notice any COVID-19 related posts? Something about the lockdown or 45 different ways to make your own mask. It seems like this virus and the lockdown is on everybody's minds quite a bit. How often are you thinking about it during the day? I'm a numbers guy, and I taught math and I love numbers and statistics. So early on, when this all started, I found a website that gives statistics for all the countries that are impacted by this virus. And I started watching and looking at country after country and seeing the numbers and the percentages and all these things, and focused on it a lot because I've got friends in Belgium and the UK and France and all around the world. And so I was spending a lot of time looking at what was going on. And, I learned that my sitting and staring at those numbers didn't make them go down. And checking back time and time again throughout the day didn't keep them from rising. And my knowing all those percentages and various numbers in all the countries didn't make a difference at all. I realized why it's important to stay informed. It's also important not to obsess. And I needed to change a lot of that time that I was spending checking on the numbers and turn that into prayer instead. What about you? You focus a lot on the numbers and what's happening throughout our country and the world. Do you find yourself spending a lot of time thinking about all the things we can't do right now, or you're concerned for loved ones who are in places where the virus is worse, or the long-term economic impact, or just the sheer numbers of people dying? Do you follow the news and the reports on shortages and problems with testing and vaccines and treatment, and who's to blame and who's doing what wrong now? And, even before this virus, we had developed quite a culture of outrage, and you've got to find something to be upset about and up in arms about. And anybody posts something on social media, you've got to find something wrong with it to attack and focus on negative. Now that I've got you thinking about all those negative things, how's your mood? Does it make you feel good and hopeful? Thinking about all those bad things is depressing. It's hard on our spirits, isn't it? And I'll admit there's a lot of bad out there to think about. But there's still beauty in our world. We went for a hike in the woods the other day, and there were wildflowers blooming everywhere. Had no one told them that we're in the midst of a crisis and everything should be gloomy and depressing? And today, the sun was shining so brightly in St. Joe. Doesn't he know that there's this dark cloud hanging over all of us? In Philippians chapter 4 and verse 8, the Apostle Paul told us the kinds of things we should be thinking about as followers of Christ. He says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Think about things that are lovely and commendable and good and pure and right. Think about these things. But in the midst of this terrible crisis, is there anything good to think about? Is there anything positive? Well, when I've watched some of the major news programs, even though they'll spend probably 29 and a half minutes telling you about all the things that are going wrong and what's bad and what could go wrong and who's to blame, they always end with maybe only 30 seconds, but a heartwarming story of somebody doing something positive, something good to help others. And there's lots of that out there. There's so many people finding creative ways to serve others, to do good, to help make things better for others. Whether it's a Broadway star singing The Impossible Dream from his balcony to honor the first responders and healthcare workers, or whether it's people getting in their cars and driving in a parade, honking and waving to brighten somebody's birthday. There are so many things being done, so much being given, so much service. People are finding ways to help. It's easy to get stuck in the bad because there's so much of it, and it's a negative spiral. But we need to look for the good. Some of us are really good at seeing the dark cloud behind every silver lining. But it's true, there's lots of bad out there, but there's good as well. And I'm not talking about sticking our head in the sand and pretending there's nothing bad. I'm talking about choosing what we're going to dwell on, where our focus is going to be, what we're going to look for. Are we going to look for the good in all situations? Are we going to search out what's true and honorable and just and pure? Are we going to recognize the lovely and the commendable? Are we going to see if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise? And if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things.